Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 13th episode of our Knowledge Fishings. My name is Choravot. I will be your moderator throughout the today's sections. So, as the previous sections or previous episode, Knowledge Fishing is an online talk show platform where we analysts can learn and share between the youth and professionals from the different countries. So, and for today's topic, we are focusing on the marriage. And as it happened, the marriage today's time follows and the same traditional, but the generation has its own versions as per the media the modern world. It's now a great pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker today, who are going to talk and share with us about the topic regarding about concept of marriage among the present generations. Today, I have like two beautiful ladies. First of all, I would like to hello Miss Lin. She's from Myanmar, and also Miss Crystal from Indonesia. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we are delighted to have you here. Appreciate it for your support and for such a wonderful contribution. And welcome everyone. And how are you doing? Hello, Krista. Hello,
Hi.
Lynn. Okay, so thank you so much for like your time. And first of all, I also would like to maybe a little bit asking for both of you to introduce yourself like more to, for the audience watching us from the Facebook Live to understand more about your. Can I have Miss Lynn first?
Uh, Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Lim Pugh, and everyone's know me Lin. And currently, I'm working as a lecturer and head of the department, Faculty of Art, Humanitarians, and Languages of the Asia Euro University, as well as I'm working for the lecturers for the Royal University of Phnom Penh as well. I'm the author of the Women Leadership Issues in Myanmar, and likewise, and I have been written many of the women's rights papers in the academic journals as well.
Okay, can I have next?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to meet you here.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Krista, can you start?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. There was the video was a little bit slowly, but yeah. My name is Theodora Cristabel. You can call me Krista. For me, I'm from Indonesia, but now I'm living in the Netherlands. I'm working as a quality analyst at one of software development company here in the Netherlands called Mendix. I actually just joined a workforce, so I didn't have that many working experience, but before the Netherlands, I was living in Japan for 4 years to have to obtain my bachelor university, and then after that, after I graduated, I went to Indonesia for a couple of months before I'm going to I went to the Netherlands, and yeah, so that's about me, and thank you for having me as well.
Thank you everyone for introduction and well, like really great to see you all here. Your smile is like really make me feel like I have a lot of questions in hand now. But again, like for the audience, like for the previous episode, like most of our talk show we live at the morning time. But still, like today we have special from Crystal and Linz, and she currently based in the Netherlands, so the time zone is quite different. That's why we switched this week to the evening time. And sorry for Linz for asking you to change for the time, but again, thank you so much. So before we go deeply in the topic, I would like to maybe focus on the keywords about the marriage. I would like go the question to you, Ms. Lin. So can you tell me like what your thought and also the definition of the marriage to you?
Okay, so marriage is like it is more like physical attached things. It is much more like a lot of commitments are involved in it. So the commitment is like not only in the physically but the emotionally, and it is like including the legal way as well, legal commitment, and also it is to help each other or support each other, whether it is in the good times or bad time, together. This is really important in the marriage to me. Yeah.
Maybe also the question refer to Krista as well, because you just get into another still a journey of the life. So maybe you can tell like what the different, and you might give the one or two sentence for this keyword.
I just, like Kotaro said, I just got married in 2021, so it was last year, so new. But for me as well, marriage is I'm agree what Miss Lin said, that it's commitment in all specific way, but it's also lifetime learning platform that you can say, because in marriage you can, how to say, there is an openness that you have. So you didn't know your partner before like full, but now because you're married, you know the outside and the inside, and because you already got the commitment. So then you, how to say, you learn something new about that person, and then you also need to adjust it with yourself. So for me, it's also another lifetime learning platform. Yes.
Thank you both of you. I have the question to Krista. You know, like since you currently, I mean, like, you're originally from Indonesia, like moving to study in Japan, and after that moved to another country, and also the time that you just got married there. So maybe can you tell the difference between the living with a single life in another country and then move to live in with a couple life in another new country? What is really different and how you can see from yourself?
Of course, the difference, there is another support system, you know, like yeah, right. When I was in Indonesia living alone, and then not alone, I mean, I was my family is there, but I mean living far from the family. And then in Japan, of course, I have Kotaro as my friends, and all of my
Yeah.
best friends there as well. But then when you go home, you going to like an empty house, like alone, you know, like. But now it's like a, yeah, right, because there, you don't have anyone to share. You can share with your best friend, but there is some limitation that how to say that you when you what you want to share with your best friends. But then when you got married, and you come home, you can share basically everything. Like when you annoyed with someone, you can see your partner as that person, and you start screaming like, I hate this person, you know, like you can like get it out, everything that you have. Is like a personal therapist, something like. So I think there is, of course, there's the difference between single life and couples.
But I mean, like, okay, shout out loud, but it's not really like started point, but maybe after you guys like really know each other and
Yes,
you like
yes,
shout out, yeah, right?
yes,
It,
yes.
yeah, so like maybe like everyone like watching us from the live stream, they might say like, who's Kotaro? Like because Krista keep asking, calling my name because my nickname is Kotaro, and we have friend in Japan. So we have like our Japanese name. Also, maybe some of us like might not really know who's Kotaro when Krista had mentioned. Okay, so Miss Lin, I also have a really fun question because you keep traveling like many countries as I know you, and I would like to know more about your perspective about the marriage in the different regions. Like, do you think like all the country they have their own traditional way, or do you think that nowadays they try to change from the modern, sorry, the traditional to become a modern marriage? Or any idea on this issue?
Yes, so true. But I have been traveling, and then what I have seen so far is like day by day, women have more burden, especially with the career. Mostly, all of my friends are career-oriented women. They are already in the setting level in the what they are working environment. It is so difficult for the us to be, you know, like to maintain in these type of the even long-term relationships, to keep with the busy lifestyle is really difficult. So even in the Southeast Asia, I have seen that many of our friends are becoming like their marriage time has been like kind of only life. And then career oriented women to be secure for their for their life and their uncertainty. That's what is going on in the world right now. And also the legal protections for the women in many countries has been, I have seen so far, is so weak for the legal protection. So only very few countries have provided for the women's rights, for the especially with the legal rights giving it, so that legal way is way much costly for the women to do certain things. So it has changed, and much more like women are more like they are taking safer option for their career rather than they're choosing their marriage lifestyle as well. That is like I have seen so far, even in the Southeast Asia regions, have been developed and changing it. And that's, I mean, what I'm saying is from my perspective and among my friends in my environment. Yeah.
And do you like it?
Um, whenever they make their decisions,
Yeah.
I will cheer for them. When they need it, I'm going to be there for them. You know, that is the true best friend supposed to be. So, yeah.
Actually, like, thank you for the great this like sharing, because as a SIP on Cultural Innovation Part, we work regarding about SME in our country, local SME, and we aim to promote about the visibility, sustainability, and also
Hello?
innovative. Yeah, I mean, like for the SIP, like we work with the SME and also with the women as well on the
The
local.
connection is not.
Can you hear me, Crystal?
Yeah, the connection is not stable. I don't know from whose side it is. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I recap it again. I mean, your perspective is really great for it, not just only in terms of like for women empowerment, but also like as a business. We can see that as if like our organization, we work with mostly SME in our country, local SME, and also many SME are also created by female, like women empowerment. So I think this is a great change that the women can have right to decide and think about the new thing that they can have their own, and they not really depend on the men so far. And maybe can you share a little bit more, especially from your country, Myanmar? I would like to know, like, from the difference between your parent time, I mean, a long times ago and until now. Like, still people like they accept all the new generation decision, or they still like follow their parent as a traditional one?
Okay, I would say like what the perception of marriage, it has changed due to the responsibility, and also the marriage age has been changed as well. If you look at it according to the Asia Populations Journal 2021, they have published it, and then they stated that in the Myanmar, according to the 2014 data, most of the Myanmar women they marry at around age of 25. However, currently they are not really like their marriage age has been like changing, and people are much more focuses on the they are like kind of the Myanmar also similar to the other many Asia or developed countries. It's like they are declining, for the female marriage rate are declining as well. And then maybe because of the, I could say, improvement in the women education, and also the participation in the labor process, and also it is driving factors for the changes in the marriage patterns across the globe as well. And then in the case of Myanmar, before, like, of course, in traditionally long time ago, parents arranged marriage, and they do have, and actually my brother marriage is arranged marriage. And then but they are fell in love each other later. And then and nowadays women, so they choose, they have much more option to choose. And yeah, I could say like most of the Myanmar women are very career oriented, maybe because of the education change. So I have seen so far, and also another thing is in my parents' time, most of their family members are only men labor force is enough to, like, support the family, and women's doing household chores and so on. However, nowadays women's are like in workforce, and due to the economic situations, current economic situations is affected both men and women in the household. They have to go for a work, they have to work, and then of course having children day by day lesser and lesser. My grandpa time, they have like 11 children, and then my mom time, like just normal families are 5 or 6, and some of the well-educated families are 3 is a maximum. And then like my cousin time, it's changed like only 1 or 2 to a maximum. Nowadays, like my time, 1 or 2 maximum, and also some others are not to choose, like they're willingly not to choose to get married as well. I do believe that these are shrinking, declining the marriage rate is like really affecting to the many, not only in Myanmar but also in the many countries in Asia as well. Yeah.
Thank you. I think this is a really matter because, like when you say, like you guys already mentioned, like when you said about the keywords, marriage is about responsibility and commitment. I can see that people like they try to have a really high responsibility to the new generation. So one day just like look up for another like newcomer, I mean a new person in the family. They just say like, okay, how much I can have talking about the finance, how much they can have to balance and how much they can respond for their kids in the future. And maybe back to the Krista Indonesia, maybe can you share some, about this point?
For me, there are not a lot anymore because, as you know, in this modern era, a lot of voices about gender equality or women equality. So most of my generation is also like around Kotar's generations. We are also career oriented. So basically only so for me, there are still people with traditional mindset of marriage, with having like arranged marriage, or maybe having the man is the one who's going to work and the women doing the household chores and stuff like that. There are still some of the traditional marriage if you are going to the like a small city or villages in Indonesia. But if you are going to a city, like a big city, like maybe the capital city like Jakarta, I think they are starting to have kind of traditional marriage, but in a way of a modern thinking. What I mean with modern thinking is like the husband still going to work, but then they let the wife to also help with the economy, like, and then they are doing teamwork, like on the decision making, and then on the financial responsibilities, and then how to take care of the children and stuff. So they're combining two minds in one. Because what I see in a traditional marriage way before, even in my grandmother's generation, or maybe my parents' generations, they don't do teamwork in their marriage. It's always one person, which is the father, who's doing the decision makers for everything, even in the financial, and then in a household, like those. But nowadays, the traditional marriage, the husband going to work, still happening, but they are combining with a modern way of thinking. I think that's nowadays people say. So.
Thank you, Krista. Like, I would like to ask you a little bit impersonally. Okay, so discussion to Krista. Okay, talking about your support system at home.
Yeah.
When you so you guys have your own careers. You have your own career. I mean, if you talking about we stay with the roommate, we share about this, we share about that. But
Yeah.
how about this point? I mean, when you're also talking about the financial decision making, about ability of marriage, do you have any experience, or you can share us some tip that you guys get along together on this many points?
For me, like I said, nowadays you see marriage in a modern era as a teamwork, right? So there's always equality in both sides. Doesn't matter which one and how you divide it. It's also depending on the situations. In my situations, because my company allowing me to working from home, so this is just an example. So my company give me allowing me to stay working from home. So what I'm doing with my husband is we are dividing the household chores. Like I will cook every day and doing the dishes and do like a small cleanup. Like if there is a glass in his workroom, I will bring it to the kitchen and then do the dishes. Well, his company doesn't allow him to working from home, so he needs to go to the office. And then what he's doing is he's doing the big cleanup every weekend. So he's doing the laundry, he's vacuuming, and he's mopping the house in the weekend. So it can also be the other way around if he's working from home and I'm going to the office. So basically, like I said, teamwork. There's supposed to be flexibility, like okay, then if you're doing this, I will do this. Like there is a willingness to do those kind of things, because at the end it's about two people, not about you yourself anymore. So yeah, that's from my side.
Yeah, it sounded great to share. It's about when we mention about a couple, it's about a teamwork, complement each other, like complete each other. So I think this is really a good initiative that maybe Crystal and your support system like have thought about in this point. And I think it is a really good example, not just like the maybe the new generation, they can take a look and learn from that. Because living far, I believe that Crystal and your husband like only stay like as a couple, they not have relate or like stay together with your big family. So this is like what you can have each other in also doing your the job. So back to Miss Lynn, I have one really questions that asking about benefit as well. So what changed when the couple get married and how the marriage bring the financial benefit?
Think Christina, I really like appreciate that how she is sharing and like equality between everything, including the financial decisions matter. So I do believe that it is like equality that man also before his responsibility will be like he also have a having that pressure from work, and then we use his money and then without noticing. And when women are working it, women can understand the people that even though when you're in dating life, if you're a good girl, I told all of my friends who are a boy, like if you have a girlfriend, if she is really, in love with you, she will not using your money as like kind of spending money, because she will value your money as her money. She will not spend money on it like, oh, buy for me this and do this for me. And rather than like perhaps they maybe if they have planned to do future together, perhaps like saving for the house, or maybe like doing some planning for their future financial planning or investments, those will be a lot better. Like this type of benefits and sharing will be equality will be really important for the as a benefit in financially, I think. And also the in terms of household chores, like Christina also shared it like really sweet. I do hope that all the men one day hope that to share household chores without having any of the these type of the patriarchy like thinking or something like, oh yeah, I'm a male and my mom doesn't let me do it or something like that. Oh, I cannot cook because I'm a boy, and I don't agree with that, because the world famous chef are mostly a boy as well. Why they can do that? And right, so these type of things are like kind of the benefits for the in general that I just would like to discuss with it these matters. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
I have one maybe like strict let's say it's strict also like one come up question that I would like to ask regarding
yes.
So I would like to hear from you guys. I mean like okay, so like you guys mostly have your own work, your own career, and also career oriented. And also you met a lot of female who have a career oriented as well. But if you're talking like one business, you think that the guy and the girl, like I mean the couple, like should they have their own business together or not? And why or why not?
Oh wow. That is like really tough questions that legally is like kind of the commitment, and as I mentioned, there's also legal commitment are coming in also. If you have the proper strong legal agreement that you set up in
We can wait a little
in
bit from this.
the if you are going to work to divide it or things. So it can be everything. For me, I personally prefer the person who is from the completely different background. Honestly, me and my friends mostly we study social science, and we prefer to date the guys from the different. When we're in school, we prefer, like for example, I'm studying from social and management school, and politics, so on, and we prefer the guy from like engineering school, because like we completely have a different opinions, and we don't want to be in like same. And then my friend who is she is studying in the international relations and politics and stuff, and she dated the guy there who is from physics, because she said like she doesn't want to have a political argument at home or together. So this is just like the basic things that we don't want to have it issue at home. So like in terms of the collaboration for investment and financing, I think if I didn't say that you cannot do, you can do, but make it prepare it for the proper legal documentation for your investment in the case of there's some scenario. And that's my personal opinions. And yeah, you can do both different.
Okay, follow up to you.
For me, I agree with Ms. Lindsay that you need to have like a how to say like a straight rules between business and a private matter, because you know business is business and family is family. You cannot put it in together. So even though he's your husband or he's your parents, for me it doesn't matter, because business still business and family is for me. Yeah. So that's a yes.
Yeah. So that means like, okay, in the family, you are my husband, you are my wife, but in the working area, like, okay, you are like my staff, you need to work for me, so you need to respect my decision or what, or like maybe somehow like that, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
of
heard
course.
that some organizations are you are not allowed to work, like even family members are not allowed to work together. Some rules, as far as I know, there is a one organization. I don't remember the name of the organization, and then they are like they met at the organization, they got married, and then one of them have to quit the job because of the organizational rules and regulations as well. So this is in the NGO fields that what I have seen so far as well. Yeah.
Actually, I know that Crystal, like you originally from Indonesia and you based in Netherlands, but experience like living in Japan for more than 4 years. I would like you to share a little bit more about the marriage in Japan. It's so special. I can see the couple, and nowadays they're not really getting like want to get married, and mostly they still like stay in their own time, and they want to do whatever they want to do. So maybe Crystal, can you share any like your perspective on your seeing about this in Japan?
Okay, before I answer that question, I ask you why you're not getting married yet. Do you have do you have your own thinking why you're not married yet, or because
Okay.
of
Okay, I think this talk show is spicy now.
no, I just want to hear your perspective, because yeah, just wondering.
Okay, because like like I'm still thinking that in my country, I just feel like
Yes.
the guys who are around my age, around like 24, 25, like still young, and I still continue my study, and I
Yeah.
think that maybe I still like need to work hard there to get more money and to get a lot of things that I can even support myself first, that I can support my
Yes.
partner. So this
Yeah.
is like what my perspective is. So I believe it's not.
Yeah, I
really,
know, because this is coming from you as a male perspective. You know, when you
yeah.
ask me, I'm doing it as a female perspective, and yeah, of course, as a male, you need to be able to support your family one way or another, right? But then, in a female perspective, I think nowadays people are not getting married in a young age, because there is no more burden, there is no more social pressure. Before, like your parents, there is a social target that you need to get married at this age, and then you need to have to first get at this age, and then second, you know, like it keeps going, the social target. But nowadays people are like, even my parents, they are not giving me target anymore, so there is no more social pressures from the family that you have to get married in the certain age. And again, back to a lot of voices are coming out, like the equality, which means that women can also have career. I mean, like if a male can get married around 40 years old, why not female? I'm right, because I mean, in a science perspective, maybe the age of 40 years old marriage, women marriage is like kind of old if you want to have a baby. But what I see as well from my colleague here in the Netherlands, they just want to spend their life with their partner. It doesn't matter if they have kids or they don't have kids. It's if they have kids, yes, they will raise them. But if they don't have kids, then okay, then I will have my the rest of my life spent with my partner. We can travel together. We can do anything together. You know, like those kind of things. So I think what I see why people are nowadays married in like long age, or maybe they just having relationship like just a like yeah, like a relationship but not marriage, because I think there's no more social pressure that they face it. So yeah.
It's surprising because not just you. You saw like 1 month I spent it more than a month I spent here, and I met a lot of friends and like professor or like some of the senior friends. They also mentioned about that they still like in a relationship, but they not really get married yet because they just enjoy their own life and the
Yeah.
things that they couldn't find any reason of getting married, and especially somehow that kind of like having a child is also difficult for them. So I think maybe this is one of the matter that it's related with not I mean like our globe, and I also like think that it's also depend on decision. So we need to respect the people decisions that if they want to get married right now they can, but if don't want, why? And we don't need to
Yeah.
be discriminate like female or male like that.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't matter. Yeah.
yeah, that is true. Maybe Miss Lynn, do you have any point to add in this?
I think like later on we all end up with the career. We all are being like career oriented people, and we want to be financially secure. So by ourselves. So I don't like I have seen so far. It's like it's going to be more and more in the new generations will be choosing maybe like what Christina has stated, that living with the partner, the person that they love, is much more important than doing this type of commitment in the legal way, because sometimes even though you make a commitment, that things didn't turn out well. So yeah, just so
I have another question. Like, when we're talking about the getting married, I think example like, okay, let's say a guy married with a girl, and then he need to respond for the girl side family business. For that, I mean, they need to work for that. Do you think that is really a good idea to take the responsibility on that business, or the couple like should have their own new business that not relate with their parents?
Christina, how
Okay,
do you
that's
think
my
about it?
uh, this is I think well when the guy is going to work with the in-laws, I think again back there's you still need to set up a straight line, because again it's a business and a family, right? Because yeah, and it cannot every decision that you have in the business cannot how to say affected every decision you take in a family, because sometimes even in a movie when you work for the in-laws and stuff like that, you still affecting the way you see people or the way you see your own partner because of that. So what I mean like it's allowing maybe like you don't know you don't know where you get your other partner, right? I mean, when you're going to meet them, maybe they are the the employee of your dad. You never know. But then once again, you need to have a thin straight line between business and marriage, because you cannot once you mix it, it will you know like uh how
Mm.
to say ruined. Well, you can say that.
That means like
Yeah.
somehow like, when you have your own business, and then like when you have like someone who come, and if he is or she is your support system, it will be grow the business and also like grow your family. But if he come and she come and then like not really work well together, I think this is like something that really make the business down. So I think in this point we cannot say because it's about the commitment. It's about like how the chemistry between like one and one, and how the responsibility for every single of them.
Yeah.
And Miss Lynn.
Yeah, it is also I agree with you with that because it is just depends on the family members and the certain
Mhm.
situations and different categories that is apply because they have a big business and they want the guys her husband to be taking care of it, and those type of things also could happen, and they love the girl husband like their son, and they are getting along well. It can be one thing, it's good. But also sometimes like men think like, oh, I'm a man and like I'm taking the half family business, which is like it's affect his pride that he couldn't do his own business and to take care of their daughter, and then like perhaps like they may look down on me and I'm coming from this type of families, and it may affect like their marriage life as well. And also yeah, so everything's I could say this case is depends, and they have to choose the right one based on their own opinion, yeah, in the different people in different situations, how close they are and what are the relationships and what do they want is important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have like one really last question. I hope if I I want to know like maybe from your perspective, Miss Lin, like do you think that there is any impact on the economy if less people are decided to get married?
Oh, economic impact. I don't know. I'm not, because I don't want to say I don't know, but it is like many things from the economic perspective and other perspective as well. Elon Musk said that civilization is going to be crumble if their people are not get married, and it's like kind of big statements. And many countries encourage nowadays people to get married as well and have a kids, such as like countries like China or South Korea, Japan. You guys already studies and know about it. So, in in these type of scenarios, they are like in terms of the country perspective. Maybe that is why they are started doing family plannings and giving the rights for the if you have a kids you will get this and these type of benefits and social plans are doing it. However, if you are looking back from the single every each and single one of your perspective, maybe like they already suffer a lot due to the many things in the what is going on in the world, so they don't want to have any more burdens. Or even myself, I know how life is tough and we have to go through, and how difficult to fight for it. So my intention of not having kids and things, maybe that because of I don't want to carry out another human being to suffer like me, maybe. But in terms of the country, there are like two perspective, individual perspective, and also like if you're looking from the government perspective, that it may be affecting some of the economics and country future of the country situations, and that is why they are providing these type of social plans for their people to get married and have a kids as well. But you all already know that it's shrinking at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is like really difficult to say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really really wonderful sharing because it's about the gap and about the decision making between the two perspectives, the the
Mm-hmm.
government side and also the
Mm-hmm.
people side. I think we not force anyone to do whatever they don't want to do, but at the same time
Mm,
it's about to sing and to see like how the story behind you and how and why and the reason. Everyone have their own
exactly.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone have their own difficulty, and so they have a choice to choose. But I don't want to hear from Krista. Like I think you more than a year like living in this Europe country, and also like some of country like they still have like a lot of system to give, and the I
Social
heard that
benefits and stuff.
yeah, like they give the benefit to the people who get married and something like that. So, in your perspective, what do you think about this?
I think I will give two perspective from Indonesian perspective and when I'm living in the Netherlands. So in Indonesia, having children is still okay. They are still having children. I see my friends. They're my age and they already have two children with 1 year apart. So in Indonesia, it's not a problem because people are still going what they are doing. Like it's their decision. But seeing in the Netherlands, especially also you also I think you also see it in France that more people they choose to live alone. I think in that sense Well, I think Miss Lin also mentioned about that nowadays, based on the economic situations, it's basically hard to buy a house or but especially buying house by yourself. So you need someone else to do it with you. Um, the hard part is like in the Netherlands specifically, people are not going to have children because it's also mentioned with Miss Lin that we want to protect our generation from suffering because nowadays global warming and then inflation, everything, like happening right now. And that's why it stops for it's they basically think that it stops only until us, like something like that. But then again, I cannot also say in the government perspective because maybe they have their own thinking. Because if there is no more children or no more new generation coming, then who else gonna take care of the country? Like maybe the government will think about that. But then from our perspective, doesn't matter how many benefits the government will give us. We are the one who will always responsible to bring a new generation to the world. So there's always that arguments that what should I do, like following the governments because we will get benefits, or doing our own decisions ignoring the government's benefits, like yeah, it's still the same thing. So yeah.
Thank you. So before we end this talk show, maybe if two of you have anything to add more about this, the marriage and also the best thing of being married or the best thing of being not married, you please welcome for the last maybe statement or like any idea on this.
Okay. For me, I personally give the one tips, which is whatever it is. Okay, whether you want to get married or not to choose not to get married or anything, but it is up to them. It is their choice. But I want women to be financially independent. Whatever it is, don't quit the job. Get it good education, whether it is formal or informal education, such as like like vocational training, so something like you can survive for yourself. Not only to the women but also for the men, for every single one, and anything could happen with any situation. Even though you are coming from strong family background, you are rich, but your family can be something happen and financially problem. So whatever it is, just to be everything, be independent and don't quit a job, get a good education. Yeah, that's
Thank
my
you. How
tips.
about
Yeah.
Krista?
uh for me it's the same. It's at the end when you marriage is also back to yourself, right? It's combining two people, of course, but then again, if you are comfortable with marriage, then go for it. If you're not, then go also for it. Like no one will no one will um no one will be angry at you. Like there, remember that there is no more social pressure anymore that you have to get married at certain age. So whatever you're doing it because of yourself, not because of other people. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Krista. Thank you, Ms. Lin, for sharing a wonderful idea and perspective regarding about the concept of marriage. And actually, for today's discussion, like I believe that what the audience who watches on the live stream on the Facebook page, they can learn a lot from you guys, and especially in terms of doing the business, they can see that the financial support from each of their couple, their partner, and also it's about yourself, it's about commitment, responsibility, and also your own plan to work and also to decide of your own business. And thank you for your sharing again. Thank you for your time. I know this is the different time zone, but thank you for Miss Lin, especially like you spend like Saturday evening time join with us, and also Crystal, your Saturday time you need to have rest with your support system, but you yeah, your time to join in with us today. And thank you, audience, for watching us from the live stream and always support our talk show. So see you guys for the next episode, and I hope to see you guys in person as well. Have a great
Yes,
day. Bye bye.
you
Thank
too.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good day.
Have a good day.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me. Bye.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you so
same.
much.
Bye bye.